Galloway's support through sight loss. Galloway's get active. Brockholes Nature Reserve.
Welcome to Brockholes. Hi guys, James here with Jane again, and today we're at Brockholes Nature Reserve in Preston. Belongs to Lancashire Wildlife Trust, and today we're going to bring you on a walk around Brockholes. The weather's not particularly brilliant today, but we'll make the most of it anyway, so we'll have a wander around and see what we can find for you guys. We'll look round some of the lakes that are here and the woodland as well, so keep watching and we'll see what we can find.
So leaving the main car park, we head out towards the main lake and the Guild Wheel. Walking down a little track, trees on one side, shrubland on the other, and the main lake in front. Just coming onto the Guild Wheel, there's a view across the main lake. So we turn right and head up the Guild Wheel. Every so often around the reserve there's some notice boards telling you about some of the bird life that can be seen. Jane will read these to us as we go around.
See a dunnock.
Sound of a pheasant.
See a dunnock foraging on the ground, and what we actually can see, just go over here, James.
There's a pheasant.
It's a pheasant.
There's a pheasant on a bird table that we disturbed. It's just flown onto the floor. The pheasant is a big bird with a long tail. The male pheasant is brightly coloured, chestnut colours on its body, a white ring round its neck and an iridescent blue head with a bright big red eye patch. Jane now reads one of the notices.
The dunnock is also known as the hedge sparrow or hedge accentor, and is often mistaken for a sparrow. Its thin bill separates it from streaked finches, buntings and sparrows. Up close, the dunnock has a blue-grey head and breast with dark brown streaks across its back. The sexes are very alike in appearance. Juvenile dunnocks look a little different as they lack the grey on the head and chest. They are also spottier than the adults. The adult dunnock grows to a length of 14 centimetres with a wingspan of 19 to 21 centimetres. They eat insects, worms and spiders, as well as seeds and berries. During the winter, they will visit feeder stations but are mostly seen on the ground catching fallen food.
Carry on following the Guild Wheel through a wooded area with trees on both sides. It's a nice firm path. Lovely autumn colours.
As well as the dunnocks, there are bullfinches, which is one of the brightest birds. The bullfinch is a medium-sized bird that belongs to the finch family. The male bullfinch is a striking bird with a bright pink breast and cheeks, as well as a black cap and bib and grey back. Despite molting between July and October, the males do not have duller autumn plumage like other finches. Females have the same black head and pattern but have a paler, more grey breast instead of the bright pink. Juveniles lack the black cap and bib. They grow to 14.5 to 16.5 centimetres in length with a wingspan of 22 to 26 centimetres. Bullfinch feed on the buds of various trees during the spring and favour plants such as ash, elm and common nettle. They do take insects to feed their young. At bird tables and feeders, the bullfinch will eat sunflower and other seeds. Bullfinch is on the amber list of birds of conservation concern.
The Guild Wheel now opens up a bit. There's a hill in front and some autumn coloured trees. We're now approaching the woodland, and there's beautiful autumn colours, and it's still raining, and there's a few drops of rain on the lens. Colours that range from bright green to dark browns with all the yellows and russet colours in between. We're now approaching the woodland, and there's a gate that we've got to go through. So we go through the gate and we enter into the woodland. You may be able to hear the rain on the leaves. Again, the leaves are all sorts of colours, from the greens of spring and summer, making way to the yellows, browns and reds of autumn. The entrance to the woodland, there's some really tall straight trees, and the camera's just looking straight up. Now there's a view of one of the lakes through the trees. Just a short glimpse of the lake between the thickness of the trees. So on the left hand side is the lake, and on the right hand side there's a hill. Lots of brown leaves littering the path. The droning noise that you can hear all the way through is the sound of the motorway as the M6 runs right past the reserves. Nice little bench in a clearing. Showing a close-up of some of the tree leaves that are changing colour. Greens, browns, yellow.
The robin. Robins are one of the most recognisable British birds, and both the male and female boast a red breast all year round. They grow up to 14 centimetres in length, with a wingspan of 20 to 22 centimetres. Each bird has its own unique breast pattern, which means they can be identified individually. However, juveniles have a spotted brown breast and don't grow their red feathers until their first molt. Some robin pairs may raise as many as 3 broods during the breeding season. Robins are ground feeders and eat a range of insects, including beetles, worms and spiders. However, they will also eat berries and other fruit.
Yeah, I've got some really bright yellowy orange coloured leaves in the woodland. The path comes past some dark stones on the floor with the bright browns and orangey colours of the leaves. There's now a stump that's covered with bright green moss. And the camera pans up to show the orangey yellow leaves. We now enter out of the woodland and across the meadowland. Now we're showing a close-up of a reed. I think it was a reed flower. It looks like a really tall, long piece of grass with the flower seeds. Carry on walking up the path with the lake on our left hand side, and over behind the trees on the right is the M6 motorway. Either side of the path there's some long grasses which are all sort of a russety brown colour this time of year.
What's the idea behind these fences? In winter 2018-19, Brockholes installed two types of fence in this part of the reserve. One type is livestock fencing, the kind that the notice is attached to, and one is anti-predator fencing, which is the kind you can see on the island if you look through binoculars. These fences are here to serve important habitat management roles. Livestock fencing is what we use to contain cattle. It has mesh on the bottom and barbed wire on the top, which is important, otherwise cows easily push through, which would be a big problem when situated so close to roads and footpaths. Brockholes have installed the fences so that English longhorn cows can graze the land and remove the scrub. The cattle are great at munching on willow tree seedlings and scrub.
It's now showing a herd of longhorn cattle, which are a brown, grey and white cattle with very long horns. They're just wandering around the reserve. You might see some steam coming out of the nostrils on this cold wet day.
At intervals along the fences, there are plenty of gaps underneath to allow fox and other mammals underneath. Inside the fences, there is a huge area of unfenced open space that is suitable for roe deer to feed and breed in. The young fawns are safe inside the fences with lots of shelter and with gates left open to give huge areas to roam. Adult roe deer are used to negotiating fences elsewhere in the reserve, and they find the lowest points to jump. The youngest learn by trial and error, but their thick leathery skin protects them if they misjudge their jumps.
We're now sat in one of the hides, and there's a view looking across the reserve with grasses in front and the lake towards the back. There's a close-up of a purple clover flower. As we follow the path round, it links back up with the Guild Wheel again, which is a really well used path. Got to watch out for cyclists, and it's tree lined.
Meet the starling. The starling is a noisy and gregarious medium-sized songbird. They appear to be black from a distance, but they are iridescent with a sheen of purples and greens. In winter, starlings murmurate in large flocks at dusk. A starling commemoration is a mass aerial stunt with thousands of birds all sweeping and diving in unison. The reason for their aerial display is not fully understood, but helps them evade predators such as peregrine falcons. Their amassing in numbers also enables them to roost together for warmth, safety and information exchange. While the starling is one of the commonest of garden birds, its decline elsewhere makes it a red list species. Starlings feed on spiders, insects and fruit. They will also visit bird feed stations.
So as we come off the Guild Wheel, we head across another path that links us back via the reed beds to the floating visitor centre, which you can just see in the distance. On the right hand side there's a lot of reed beds, which are this time of year again a russety brown. There's a small gap in the reeds at the side of the path where there's a wooden sculpture of a dragonfly. The dragonfly sat on a post, it's got its wings out, there's 4 wings and a long thin body. The camera just shows a close-up. So back along the path, we keep following it back towards the visitor centre.
The coldtip. The coldtip is a member of the tit family Paridae and is smaller in size than the blue tit. It is also one of the smallest birds on the reserve. They are duller in colour than both the great and blue tit, with a black head and a white oblong on the nape and white cheeks. They also have olive grey and buff underparts. Juvenile birds are duller in colour than the adults, lacking the glossy black head, and there is a yellow tinge to the white cheeks and nape. They grow to a length of 11.5 centimetres and have a wingspan of 17 to 21 centimetres. The coldtip eats a mix of insects, seeds and nuts, and is a regular visitor to feeders during the winter. They will join flocks of other tits to search for food.
Walking across the wooden boardwalk through the reeds. The reeds are now on both sides of the boardwalk and overgrowing.
It's just a short walk around part of Brockholes Nature Reserve. We've taken in the main lake, the woodlands and the reed beds. We've told you a bit about some of the birds that can be seen here. Not all of them we saw today, but gives you an idea of what can be seen here with a description of them.
And the cows.
There was the longhorn cows, yeah. And what we'll do is, because the site is so big and there's paths all over the place, we've just done one of the loops you can do here today. And what we'll do, we'll come back and visit again, and we'll do another walk around Brockholes, but we'll take in sort of the meadows, a little bit of woodland and the river bank as well along the River Ribble. So thanks for watching. If you want to know more, just get in touch with us. Our number is 01772 744 148. If you want to know more about the walk or more about the Get Active programme in general, give me a call and we'd love to hear from you. So stay safe, keep watching and look after yourselves. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.
Galloway's support through sight loss.